Ah, you back in
Well,
LA? Back in
I
LA?
am. Yep.
Very good.
Of course.
Uh, Again, more airlines are flying now.
Which one? Which ones?
Someone said
United?
they, someone said they're going with Delta, which I didn't know Delta went.
Delta is with LL,
Oh, they are. Oh, okay.
the co-share.
Uh-huh. The code share.
Yeah. I think United started at the end of March.
Uh-huh.
That'll be
Yeah, it's a
amazing.
big help. Yeah.
So we'll see.
And how about Tower or TWA?
Are you still around?
No. I was I was in New York last week, so I stayed at the TWA hotel.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they made a hotel at the terminal. It's beautiful, but they were so big. I don't know what happened. How did they fall apart? They were just the biggest.
yeah.
I guess probably borrowed too much money. Oh, Avon calling.
Where are we at?
We're
Hi,
on
hi.
102. Yeah,
Yeah,
102 A1. Hey,
how are you?
Walter.
How you doing?
Okay. Good.
What's new?
Not much. Same old. What are you
Same
eating?
old.
Something
Huh?
good? You eating something good?
I'm eating one of your cookies from your wife.
Okay.
Is that good? You know that the cookies. Look, you can take a look. You see, you know that it's good.
I'm eating one too.
Oh my God!
We have to get some for Abe.
No,
I'm sure Abe's wife knows how to bake. She's
good.
Hungarian. Of course, she knows how to bake. Is that a question?
No,
Really
it's
good.
not a question.
Hello.
Mario.
Stan-
Ernie, you missed a nice hole in one today, Ernie, by your
No,
friend.
he called me.
I know. I sent you pictures in case you didn't look. Unbelievable. Got to have muzzle for that.
That's a hard hole, too.
Very hard.
That's a
Very
hard
hard.
hole. I
Who
can
had a hole in
understand.
one?
Michael
Mark,
Volk.
Wow.
Yeah.
that's a hard hole, too. It's hard to get on the green. Like, the lake hole, the lake part three,
Yeah, that's one of the hardest holes. That one and hole number 8 on the lake is also very difficult to get a hole in one.
8. And then you've got on south, hole number 3.
Yeah, but this one is probably the hardest because the green's very difficult.
Correct.
He just hit it in the right spot on the green, rolled out, was down on the bottom, made a left turn and went straight into the hole. Crazy. And he hit a 7. It was 159 yards. He hit a 7-iron.
He got a good. I couldn't reach with a 7-iron. No.
No, I know. Okay.
Okay, Kuf Beis. The Afachiyah Shiloni, who was a Navi, Tov Chasam. He was also signed that Tzidkiyahu, that the Yeravam was okay. The Yehu Tzadika Rabba Hava. Yehu was a big tzaddik. Shenemar, Vayomar Shem al Yehu. Yana Asher Tivot Lasati Asher Beinei Kol Asher Bilvavi. You did good. Asit Leveit Achav Bnei Revim Yesh V'Chal Kisei Yisrael. And Yehu was promised that he would have 4 generations sitting on his throne. Uksiv, the Yehu lo shamar lelechas b'toras Hashem l'kei Yisrael b'chol ha'bavo. He didn't keep everything. Lo sar me'al chatos Yeravam, because he didn't go away from the chatom of Yeravam, asher echtit Yisrael. My garmalei. What caused him to do that? Rabbi, a bris crucilis v'sayim. It was, Hashem has a covenant with people who speak. Yehu had said, Achav avadas abal ma'at, Yehu yavdenu harbe. Yehu in his rishus had said, Achav didn't worship the Baal a little bit, I'm going to worship him a lot. That's why Yehu got punished. Rava Amar, he saw the signature of Achiyah Shiloni stamping that Yeravam was okay, so he made a mistake. Dichsiv. V'shachatash seitim emiku v'ani musar l'chulam. Pasuk in Hosea. Amrav Yechon, Amrav Kodesh Baruch Hu. Heim emiku migzerosai shali. They were machmir. Ani amarti kol sheino ol l'regel over basei. Going up aliyah l'regel is only a mitzvah saseh. If you don't go, you're over a mitzvah saseh. Heim amru. The Yeravam people said, "Kol oil l'regel yidakar b'cherev." Whoever goes up to the regel will be run through with the sword. And therefore, Yeravam was matzliach to prevent people from going up aliyah regel. Vayi ba'yisayi v'Yeravam yatzam Yushalayim. When Yeravam left Yerushalayim, vayimsa oso Achiyah Shiloni Navi. Achiyah Shiloni, saw him and going to curse him. V'imit kasab b'salma chadasha. He is dressed in a new garment. What's by Isahi? AC muzuzens l'puranos. Whenever it says by Isahi, it's bad news. Like it says by Yirmiyah, ba'es pakadatem yovedu. When Hashem calls, He's going to cause your destruction. Like it says in Yeshaya, ba'es ratzon anisecha. Sometimes, when it says by Isahi, it's a good thing. Like Uviyom Pagdi, Ufakadati Aleim Chatasam, when B'Tisha B'Av, that was the day that the Meraglim came back, and that was the day that was also mezumin to the destruction of the 2 Batei Mikdash. At this time, after they sold Yosef, Yehuda was knocked down a peg. By Vayelich Rechavam, Shechem, Ki Shechem ba Kol Yisrael Amlichoso. They anointed Rechavam in Shechem. That place was Malka Mezumah Lepuronos, bad news. B'Shechem Inu es Dina. Dina was raped there. B'Shechem Machru Achiv es Yosef. In Shechem, the brothers sold Yosef. B'Shechem Nechle Kamachus Beis David. And in Shechem, Rechavam and Yeravam divided the kingdom. It says, "V'Yeravam Yatzim Yerushalayim." Aron Chani Bar Papa, Sheyatzim in Pitkash Yerushalayim. He's never going to go back. Vayimsa Oso Achiyah Shiloni Navi B'Derech, V'Hu Miskaseh B'Samach Hadasho, Shneim Levadam B'Sadeh. He was dressed in a new clothing, and they were alone in the Sadeh. My B'Samach Hadash Amrav Nachman. A new garment has no problem. Yeravam was a great Talmid Chacham. He had no problems in his learning. They were chadish things that nobody had ever heard. They were so the profundity of their Torah was so great. They were alone in the field. All the other Talmid Chachamim in their generation, compared to Achia Shiloni and Yeravam, they were like grass. All the secrets of the Torah was open to them like a field. Lachein titni shlichim al moreshet kat piti, achsiv lachsiv l'malchei Yisrael. Pasuk in Micha. Amar bar Papa. When they anointed Yeravam, Yatsa Baskal v'Amar Mi Shargas Plishti, meaning David, who killed Goliath. V'Horish Eschem Gat, and gave you Gat. Titnu Shiluchim Levanov is going to cause a revolt. Bate Achsiv la'Achsul l'Malchei Yisrael means Aruch bar Papa kol anenem and olma zeblo bracha ki l'goyz l'Kadosh Baruch Hu knesses Yisrael. If you eat something without a bracha, it's like you stole from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, goizel avi v'imo v'omer ein pesha chaver hu li'ish mashchis. Ve'ein avi v'LaKadosh Baruch Hu. Avi is your HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar halo hu avicha kanecha. Ve'ein imo el knesset Yisrael. Shenemar shma b'ni musar avicha v'al titosh tor zimecha. My chaver hu li'ish mashchi, he'll be a brother, he'll be a friend to a destructive person. Chaver hu li'ravam ben avat she'izchi Yisrael avim Hashem Hashemayim. He was a friend with Yeravam, who caused Klal Yisrael to sin. Vayidach Yeravam es Yisrael machrei Hashem. He was meisis u'meidiach Klal Yisrael. V'echtiam chatok made them sin. Like two sticks that, when you strike, they cause fire between the two sticks. Since we mentioned the golden calves that Yeravam put up, we're going to mention the Egel Azav that Klal Yisrael did after Matan Torah, the Di Zahav. Amar Variana, Amar Moshe v'nei Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, B'shel Kesef Azav she'ishpatim Yisrael ad sheyamru dai, you gave them so much money by Bizos Hayam and Bizos Mitzrayim until they had to say enough. Goram Lam Lasos Lem Eloi Zav. That led to them building the golden calf. Marshal. Ein Ari Doris v'noi mitoch kupa shel teven el mitoch kupa shel basar. The Ari, the lion, is encouraged to attack other animals and eat meat because he has a box of meat, not because he has a box of straw. Any punishment that happened to Klal Yisrael, some of it was still derived from the sin of Egel Azav. But now, Yeravam put two other agolim. So now we are yoinek punishment from all three agolim. Amar of Yisuk, Elachal kol pronos u'pronos shabal oilam, shein bo echad mesrim v'arba bechra liter shalegel arishon. There's 1/24 of a liter of cause of anything bad that happens to Klal Yisrael from the first egel. Shenemar uviyom pogdi ufakarti lehem chatasa. Amar b'chanani la'achar esrim v'arba doirois. After 24 generations, Nigba Pasuk said, this Pasuk was fulfilled, Shenemar. In Yechezkel, Vayikra Voznei Kol Gadol Lemor, Karvu Pkudos Ha'ir V'ish Klemesh Chasob Yado, that the final exile from Yerushalayim occurred after 24 generations. Achar Adarazer Lo Shav Yeravam Midarko Hara. That after this episode, Yeravam never went back from doing evil. What my acher? What was the thing? Kadosh Baruch Hu sent Nevi'im to Yeravam to tell him do tshuva. Now, if he did tshuva, Kadosh Baruch Hu promised Aniva Atov and Yishayin Etal B'Gan Eden. You and David HaMelech and me will spatzir in Gan Eden. Amar lo mi barosh. Yeravam asked, who's going to be in the head? So Kadosh Baruch Hu said, Ben Yishai barosh. Yachi lo ba'ina. So he didn't want to, he was so haughty, he didn't want to do tshuva. Rashi gives you the 24 generations. From, if you look at La'achar Esrim Barbadoros, it goes through the one person each generation, Nachshon, and then after Nachshon, all the various kings, Salmon, Boaz, Oived. You can go through the 24 kings. Ravav Rogel David Kodosh B'Shloshim Lachim. Ravavo used to darshan about the three kings that lost their Olam Haba. Cholosh, he got sick. Kabbalah Deloy Darsh. He had a Kabbalah. He accepted. I'm not going to darshan for the three Malachim anymore. Kivan the Itpech, but when he got healed, other Kadarish. He darshaned Amri. So his student says, "Lo kabata lach lo darshan." Didn't you have a Kabbalah that you accepted not to darshan? Amr inu mi adrabu. They didn't do tshuva. No, adrabu. Did I have to change? No. Ravashi uki shlosh malachim. Ravashi was studying the sugi of the three malachim. Amar lamachar niftach bechavri. He said, tomorrow I'm going to open up and discuss the chaverim, because they were chaverim in Torah. They were Talmidei Chachamim, but he referred to them as his chaver. Also, Menashe is chazile bechamim. Menashe HaMelech appears to Ravashi in a dream. Omar, chavrecha v'chaveri do avucha korisle. You call us friends? Mecha bois l'mishra moitzi. He asked Ravashi, from what, when you make a moitzi, where do you cut the bread? Omar le lo yadana. Ravashi said, I don't know. Omar le mehecha de bois l'mishra moitzi lo gemirt. So you don't even know where to cut the bread by the amoitzi. V'chavercha korislan? And you have the gall to call us your chaverim? Omar le agmareli. So Ravashi said, teach me. I will teach the halach in your name tomorrow. Where the crust becomes hardest. I see you were such a big Talmid Chacham. My time at Kapal Chisel of Zara. Why did you worship all this of Zara? If you would have been there with us, you would have picked up your toga and ran after the Avodah Zarah like us. That's how great the taiva for this Avodah Zarah was. And Lamacha, when he taught the halacha, Amelul Rabbanan Niftach b'Ravavusa, we will open up with our rebbeim. So he didn't call him Chaver anymore; he called him the rebbeim. Now, Achav HaMelech, he was Achla Shamayim. Sometimes, as we learned in Novi, Achav sometimes was good, sometimes was bad. Sometimes he was a brother to heaven, and sometimes he was Avla Vadazar. Achla Shamayim, because it says Va'achla Tzar Yula. Sometimes when the Maharsha says, sometimes when there's tzaras, everyone has to become an Achla Shamayim. Avla Vadazar, Shenema Karachim Avol Banim. Then it says, Vayihi, Haneke Lechto Bechato Irava Benavad. That it was easy for him to follow in the Chatom of Irava. Rav Yochanan, Kalois, Sha'asa Achav, Chechamur Sha'as Iravam. The easy sins of Achav were like the worst sins of Irava. If Achav did worse things than Yeravam, how come he calls it sins of Yeravam? The first one who goes down the slippery path, he gets blamed. And it says, Gam is b'chosam kegalim al tamei sodai. That the mizbechos are like waves. There wasn't like a dune in Eretz Yisrael that Achav didn't put up in Avodah Zarah and bow down to it. How do we know he has no Olam Haba? Because it says, V'ichreti la'achav mashkin b'kir va'atzur v'azuv Yisrael. Otzur b'olam hazeh v'ozuv l'olam haba. On Rav Yochanan. V'nei zacha Omri l'malchus. Why was Omri zoichet to malchus? V'nei she'oisiv krachecha b'Eretz Yisrael. Remember, he built up one of the cities in Shomron. V'yikach es har Shomron me'esh shemer b'krachim. V'yiven es har v'yikra shema ira shabon al shem shemar adoshim har Shomron. On Rav Yochanan. V'nei ma zocha achav l'malchus esrim u'shtayim shana. On what merit did Achav rule for 22 years? Mipnei shekibed es Torah. He had honor for the Torah. Shenitna be'esrim shtayim oisiyos. That were given with 22 letters. Because it says, Vayishlach malachim el Achav melech Yisrael ha'ira. Ben Hadad sent shlichim to Achav. Vayomer lokamar Ben Hadad. Ben Hadad wants kaspecha v'zayvcha. Yeah, I want all your silver and gold. Lihu. And I'm taking your wives and your children. Tomorrow I'm going to send my agents. They're going to search your house. Anything that is beauty to your eye, take. So Achav responded, but the Machmad Einav referred to a Sefer Torah. So Achav agreed to give up his wives and his children, but he did not give out the Sefer Torah. Right? Wasn't Ma Machmas Einecha Lav Sefer Torah? The Machmas Einecha was a Sefer Torah. So we see he had covered for a Sefer Torah to give to Goyim. Maybe Machmas Einecha Avodah Zarah. Lo Sakataita. No. Because Achav had asked the Zakenim, the Zakenim and the people said, don't give in. So we're talking about Torah, not the Avodah Zarah. Maybe these are the Rishonim, the Zakenim of the Avodah Zarah. Avshalom was surrounded also by Ziknim and were Rishonim. Right? Rav Yosef Sabi de Basa. These were Zikanim on the Ran Derech. So even Ziknei Yisrael can be Rishonim. So the Gemara says, Hasam lo ksiv l'chol ha'am. By Avshalom, it didn't say them and the chol ha'am. Ha-ksiv chol ha'am. The Yefshar lo have bun tzaddikim. When you say chol ha'am, there has to be some tzaddikim there. As it says, Vishar to B'Yisrael, Shiva Salofim, Kol HaBirkam, Shelo Kol HaBal, He had left 7,000 Jews who had not bowed down, so they were tzaddikim. Rav Nachman. Achav, Shokol Haya. He was 50-50, good and bad. Shenemar Vayomer Hashem, Mi Yiftes Achav Hayal Vayipol Birchaz Gilad Vayomer Zeh Bacha V'Zeh Amar Bacha. In the Pamaya Shomala, Kodesh Baruch Hu asked, who is going to go down to earth and convince Achav to commit a sin? Because it must be that he was 50-50. He wasn't a Rosh Gomer. Maskiflo, Rav Yosef. Man de Kosov Bei Rak Laya Ka'achav. Ashet Makir Lasos Rabbeinu Hashem. Asher Yitzatoto Yizev Lishto. Nobody was as bad as Achav. That they were maces like him and his wife Jezebel. V'tanina b'chol yom ha'isa shokela shiklei zov avodah zarah. She would weigh out gold for the avodah zarah. How could you say he was 50-50? He didn't care about money. He provided a lot of money for Tamei Chachamim. Despite all of his sins, 50% of his sins were atoned for by his tzedakah. Then, Ruach, a certain spirit volunteered the spirit of Navos, who Achav and Izebel had killed. We learned all this. I will seduce him. Let me go, I'll be a false spirit. Go and do it, and you'll be able. My Ruach, the Navos Israeli. He wanted to revenge from Achav. Might say, that means that Kodesh Baruch was throwing him out of the Pamaya Shemayim. Shekin Ksiv, Daber Shkoy lo yikon neged einai. Hashem doesn't abide falsehood. Amrav Papa, I do Damri Inshi, the Parkine Machrav Beisei. Someone who commits revenge, his house will be destroyed. And that happened to the Ruach of Navlis. Vayas Achav es Ha'ashera. Achav did the Asher. Vayosef Achav asois lachis Hashem lokei Yisrael. He did Averis to anger Hashem. Mikol Machis Rosh Hayilfa, more than any king. Amr Rav Yochanan shekasav al daltei Shomron. He had it written on the doors of Shomron, Achav kafar belo Yisrael. Achav is a koifer. Lefichach eno chelek belo Yisrael. Therefore, he doesn't have chelek. It says, Vayevakesh es Achazyahu vayel kedu v'hu mitchabe b'Shomron. Amr Rav Levi, what was he doing in hiding? Haya koider as korois, the koisev of Avodah Tachteh. He would cut out all the names of Yud Kei Vav Kei and put the names of Avodah Zarah there instead. Menashe. Why is he called Menashe? Shenasher Ka, he forgot Hashem. Dover Acher, Menashe, Shehin Shis Yisrael Avim Shem Hashemayim. He caused the Jewish people to forget their relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uminalan Dalasi Lam Dasi. How do we know he doesn't have Olam Haba? Shnever ben Shtemes Rishana Menashe b'Malcha. 12 years he was king. Chamishim Shana Melech Yisrael. He ruled for 55 years. Vayatz Ashera Kasher Achav Melech Yisrael. Ma Achav ein lo chelek l'olam haba. Just like Achav has no chelek, Av Menashe ein lo chelek l'olam haba. But Rav Yehuda Omer Menashe yesh lo chelek l'olam haba. It's machlokes, like we learned. Shneimar vayispalel leilav vayaser lo. He davened, and we're listened. He was returned to Shalim, and he was forgiven. On Rav Yochanan u'shneim. Rav Yehuda and Chachamim make recha darshan. They darshan from the same pasuk. Shneimar unsatim lezav alachom lamachos haaretz. Biglam Menashe ben Yechizkiyahu, pasuk in Yirmiyahu. Marsar biglam Menashe also tshuva, the inu lo. Because Klai Yisrael didn't tshuva, Menashe did tshuva. Yirmiyahu says Hashem closed the deal on the Klai Yisrael. It's a bad thing that the Russia also did tshuva and they didn't. But Umar Savar, no. Biglam Menashe love tshuva. The Churban happened because Menashe himself didn't do tshuva. Okay. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
See you in half an hour.
Goyach.
See you at 8 o'clock.
Goyach.